Hey, no video recording.
Okay.
I think if I ever become a mother, that's like what I want to remember. Welcome to The Fangirl. My name is Emily, and this is my friend Zhen. We are here to kind of talk about more on her background and where she came from. Again, if you're interested in travel, tech, or Asia, feel free to subscribe and follow along.
Yeah.
Do you want to give some context on like your background? Maybe start from, where you grew up and how you came to Singapore.
Yeah. I was born and raised in China, and I was from this small coastal city called Dalian in northeastern part of China. Then I moved to Shanghai for my undergrad. After that, I moved to New York City for my master degree in Columbia University, and then I lived in Florida for a bit. After that, I got married, and my husband is Singaporean. That we were sort of like deciding where we should go next, and he was very supporting Singapore. He was like, we should move back to Singapore and see how it goes. So that's why I ended up in Singapore 3 years ago.
Very cool. Yeah, it's interesting to always see other people kind of move around away from home. I think in China, you've said that you grew up also in like Liaoning, right?
Right.
Yeah. So is there anything that's like specific to Liaoning that you grew up, right? Because I know like Sichuan, like there's a lot of spicy food. Or like Liaoning, like what's, I mean, it borders North Korea, right?
It is. There is actually one place that 2-hour drive from my home that is like a border to North Korea, and there's like very small river that you can see across. Like you can see like landscape, the people there. So yeah, actually I was just talking to my friends last night during dinner that this like very unique and interesting culture where I come from, eastern part of China, and it's the public bath culture. We do public bath as a social activity. Like we're friends, so friends go dinner, go brunch, to hang, go to watch a movie. But where I come from, we can go into a bathhouse together.
Oh,
yeah. So we take it very seriously, and it's like
it's like Wenchun or like hot springs. Or
it's like sauna.
Bathhouse. Or is it like in Finland they like sit in a bathhouse with like wood?
Yeah,
like, can you describe it?
They're like serious business and like long tourist events. So they're not even like all kinds of like it's an onsen kind of bathtub, and like big ones, and there are sauna, like wooden room. There are there are like you can drink there, you can eat there, and like play board games and all sorts. And most of the places are 24-hour. I guess it's just cold where I come from, so people like usually hang out there a lot.
Yeah. And
then it's just very different and very unique in a way that when I went to college in Shanghai, and people don't go to like public bath, they feel not comfortable like seeing each other naked.
Oh, because everyone's naked.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wait, but it's split, right, between men and women?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
But it's like, that's how I grew up, like hanging out with people. I feel like kind of comfortable doing that. And when I was in college, and people find it so strange and so weird, but just something unique and interesting about where I come from.
That's interesting. I guess like in your province, then people are very accepting of like everyone's bodies.
Yeah.
They don't really care. They're just like, all right, like we've done this so many times.
Right. We do it with our like roommates and dorm mates, and it's just like very quick way of like getting each other so close. Yeah,
it's very like intimate. It's like, I've seen you naked, you've seen me naked.
Exactly. When I brought Daihan, my husband, first time back home, and my mom loves, both of my parents love doing that. Yeah. And I was also kind, and they suggested we going, and that means my dad will see each other naked, and Daihan was like, no, maybe not this time.
Love that kind of like very unique experience that you had. Yeah, because you can't say that. I mean, China's such a big country too, in different provinces, or people in different provinces grow up like differently. Yeah. So you grew up in China, and then you also went to the U.S.
Right.
for Columbia University.
Yeah.
How is that for you? And did you ever have like a culture shock? You went to New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, before that, I actually did one semester exchange in UC San Diego.
Oh,
so I was
okay.
in San Diego for 4 months. I think there are a lot of things are different,
Yeah.
but there are not like any sudden change or like such a big shock. But I do feel like a lot has changed after I go to Columbia and started my first job in a NYC based startup.
Yeah.
I guess, for example, I was very like typical like Asian, quiet, shy girl when I grew up, like, who never speaks up in meetings, who seldom asks questions in classes. But when I were in Columbia, I remember that probably in the first 2 months, the school asked us to do all like kinds of alum like networking events, because the master program only 18 months.
Okay.
And they want us to secure internship after the first semester, and they want us to find a job after the program is end. Just like slowly push me out of my comfort zone, like speak up a little bit more, going to a lot more networking events, that kind. I still remember that even that in my first job in that startup, like I never just talk in meetings. So my coworker will call up, cue me, like, what's your opinion?
What's like on the spot?
Yeah,
like,
what do you think about this topic? Because I just never talk.
Yeah.
But it's just, like, I guess slowly, it is like long, kind of like hard journey for me. But I sort of feel like that's something kind of different from where I used to, and I'm slowly changing myself, like trying to speak up a little bit more.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think especially when you mentioned like the whole Columbia like networking thing, it's a huge thing. Like in like MBA programs, right? It's because it's a lot of like meeting new people, and in the future, like these are people you might work with or find a job with, or things like that.
It is all the master programs are very career oriented.
Yeah.
And they give you a lot of resources too. They do like resume. They help you they improve your resume. They help you connect with your alumni. It just and it's a lot at first.
Yeah. And what you mentioned too, like your coworker, like asking you a question like, hey Jen, like what do you think about this? My boss used to do that to me as well, because I mean, even though I grew up in the US, I hate like talking in class or like talking at work, but I think they do it in a way that they're trying to be like inclusive, so that you have a voice too.
They're very
the American way.
They're very nice people. They're like coming from very, very good intention, and I know that they probably think that people are talk over me, that I wanted to talk something, but really I just never had that. I don't know, it's just I guess it's just kind of different, like how I grew up, like I don't really ask questions in classes.
All right. No, I think the Asian way is also to like sit back and like absorb information and like learn, right? Which is that's also a good way too, right?
It's sort of like you ask a question in your mind and sort of answer yourself already. And that's like, for example, I think a very traditional Chinese way, like on like a career thinking, is putting your business, putting a professional life always in front of your personal matters. Like travel for work, they like social for work, and a lot of things. But one of the best career advice that I got from working in an American company, from my manager at Facebook, and she's a mother. She's a New Yorker. She is a great mentor to me, and she gave me this advice. Basically, is like your coworkers will never remember you sacrifice your family time for work. Your family will never forget. So that's something like struck me. It was like, that's like so true and it's so real, and it's just like that kind of like values, like nowadays I think I put work-life balance in a very like a pretty high priorities, like high ranking. And also like work-wise, I never thought about me changing job on average every 2 or 3 years. And because my mom and my dad, they both have one job in one company
for like 20 years.
Entire career. Yeah. I mean, over 30 years.
30 years.
And it's different. And but I feel I feel comfortable doing this. I feel like I'm learning new things, and I feel it is a good way for me to like progress in my career. Yeah.
Yeah. I think what your mentor said.
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone say that before, but I think if I ever become a mother, that's like what I want to remember, and like tape that quote to a wall or something, because it's very true. Yeah. Like, you don't want to be someone who just works all the time and then you don't ever see your kid grow up, which, by the way, Jen is a mom, and she does not look like a mom. She looks like, you look so young and so like, so fresh.
I'm a mom of a baby.
Yeah. But no, that's amazing. And would you say, at least like in Chinese culture, it's really like work until like what would be like the end to work then, until you've made it big and then you have a family, or what does that look like? Yeah.
I don't know what is the end, and it's at least like my family. Like my dad works in for government, and my mom works in university, and it's sort of like the tenure. Like no longer you stay in this place and you get promotion, and it's like very sort of like fixed, like how many years ago at this position and at this, and it's go from like individual contributor to people manager and all that. So it's, I don't know, there I guess just continue like promotion and progression on this path, and then you know this gonna happen as long as you stay this much of time in this company. Yeah,
it seems like it's loyalty is like rewarded in that sense. What do they think of you like kind of adapting this more Western lifestyle and like quitting your job and finding a new one?
I think at first it must be different for them, and it actually for me, for my case, is I think they can understand better, and it's actually even harder for them to understand Dahan, my husband's business, because he's very entrepreneurship kind of, and she doesn't have like what my parents think, not a real job. So they think a job is you go to building like company and go work at 9 a.m. and come at 6 p.m. and I don't think they have a legit job, because he was doing his own startup back in the States, and now he's doing some like starting some business on his own as well, and it's just totally different to them. But for me, it's still, Facebook is a really big company, and even before in that startup, I think that was my first job out of school, and they understand that starting from like small place and like gather some experience, then you may jump to another place. But they think, oh, Facebook is so nice that you just why don't you just retire there, like why do you want to change to another job? But in this case, it was some relocation issue, and they understand as well. So it wasn't like I just out of nowhere want to change my job in that sense. So so they understand it. It's
For Daehan, sometimes I think like being an entrepreneur is harder than having like a 9-to-5 job. It's hard.
It definitely is. I cannot do it. It's just I cannot take all that risk and like worries, and just I couldn't sleep at night. But I think it asks a lot more of that person to take on that.
Isn't there like a saying in Chinese, like burning the midnight oil or something?
Oh yeah.
How do you say it in Chinese? I feel like I learned this in Chinese school, but I don't remember. 火 no 烧
煮 I don't know.
Should I look this up? Burn midnight oil. Here, you can say it because your Chinese better.
Oh, 挑灯夜战 maybe this one. 挑灯夜战.
挑灯夜战.
It's like working really hard at night.
That's why I envision entrepreneurs.
For him, it's something he wants to do, and he enjoys it, and he it doesn't feel like working for someone else.
Yeah. I know how he feels. How about you being in Singapore now?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, sorry. Actually, I want to go back to Florida.
Okay.
Yeah. What were you doing in Florida? So random.
Yeah, I was actually still working for that startup in New York City, but I was working remotely in Florida. It's just because Dahan was there.
Oh, okay.
And I lived there for 4 months.
Oh, okay.
And he was doing some solar startup business there. And after graduation, I like sort of like moved there for 4 months with him. And it was fun at first, but it just got boring. It really just because we lived in Orlando.
Okay.
And it's all about theme parks and nothing much else to do. I used to say that I used all my quota for Disneyland because every time my friends visit, I just go with them and just, I don't want to come to this place anymore.
I went to Orlando a couple years ago after graduation of college, and the same with me. I was like, I don't ever want to step into a Disneyland theme park ever again, or Universal Studios.
Yeah.
I haven't been since.
Yeah, I went to Horror Nights 3 years in a row, and that's why people like in Singapore they like asked me to go Universal Studios Horror Nights. I was like, maybe not.
No more. Yeah. What about your identity now in Singapore? Because you've lived here for a while now as well. How has Singapore changed you?
Oh.
Yeah, because you grew up in China, you were in New York, and then even like living in Florida for a bit.
Yeah.
And now Singapore.
It's not really Singapore changed me. It is, like you said, my identity, my role changed. I'm having a family here. And before that, there's just 2 of us. And doing school, doing work. But me personally, I wasn't even thinking about career and all that. I was just, job is something like sponsor me to travel, to have fun, all that. Yeah. So it just, I'm so far away from home. I don't think about anything, just like travel and having fun. But then moving back to Singapore is us to think about settling down, having a family, and now we have a kid. And that, I guess that the role change and the identity change, like it's like this is different.
Yeah, so maybe it's not so like the country, but instead it's the mold that you're fitting in. Right. Because before you were probably like a student and an employee and a wife, and then now you're a mom.
Yeah, now I'm a mother, I'm a homeowner.
Homeowner.
And also we're closer to families. Yeah. And just you sort of feel like you have a lot more responsibilities than other, like compared to you were just like flying, doing nothing in the States.
Yeah. And remember at the beginning, I asked you 3 words to identify yourself. Do you remember what they were and why you chose those?
It's mother, data scientist, and yogi. So a mother is just it comes very naturally that after you have a kid, then it's just something so I don't know, kind of magical that like you sort of made a tiny human. And a data scientist is what I do for work and my career, and I very enjoyed it myself as well. And yogi is what I do, like yoga is what I do in my spare time and for free time. And I think it is just exercise that suit me, and I'm not I can't run. I can't run. And yoga is rather like less intense, but it can still build some strength and stretch, and I enjoy that.
Cool. I think it's cool that you're a data scientist too, or like you're in that field. Is that something that you chose or your parents chose?
Yeah. It is
the number one question.
Data science is what I chose. So, but my undergrad major was economics, and that's more of my family's choice. And back then it was a popular choice, and it was the top major of my undergrad school, Fudan University. And I honestly had no idea what I want to do, and just like it just choose the best major in a school. Is that okay? And but during that 4 years, I realized that that's not something I'm passionate about. And actually, it was in my senior year. I did internship at eBay Shanghai.
Oh, okay,
That's
cool.
how I discovered that I enjoy the data analytics and engineering and tech companies. So I decided to go to engineering school for my master's degree, and so I ended up in Columbia. And my major back then was operations research, but with a focus on data science. And it wasn't like computer science, like engineering, that kind. But I landed my first job in that startup as a data scientist, and I'm so grateful and of that company, of that team, because I feel like I basically learned everything from there. And because it was such a small team, and also everyone was so smart and like friendly. And it was just I think there were 12 engineers and 3 data scientists, and they're just sitting together every day, overhear people what they're working on. You basically know what everyone is doing, and you just learn a lot of things and in a very kind of short time frame. So yeah, and it's like I wasn't that good in coding or anything when I was in school, but that job taught me a lot in that like technical skills.
Yeah, no, I think it's great because I think it also goes to show that a lot of people don't end up with what they're supposed to be like studying, right? They go into a field and kind of just stumble upon it, right? And that's done through like application or like meeting new people and exploring different fields.
And it's just sometimes I feel it's timing, and it's just happened.
Yeah, I think it's so great to kind of like dig deeper into like your lifelong journey, right? Because I don't think we often like reflect kind of on our lives.
And also I found my life pretty boring.
I don't think it's boring. I mean I feel like you've done a lot. Like you've never stayed in your bubble, you know. Like you didn't stay like in one place forever.
But I'm always like someone that's like not privileged but very smooth journey, like school and then go like master, like graduate school and go job. And I know I remember when I first started my job in the startup, and everyone seemed so cool to me, that since everyone had tattoos. I was like, wasn't an engineer before. It was someone was a cartoonist, someone was like doctor, and they sort of like changed their career to become a graphic designer, and then like a web application, like a front end engineer, and just they do all sorts of cool things like skydiving. But I was like, what was my hobby? Yoga?
No, yoga's great. We can go bungee jumping in Singapore at Sentosa to give you a thrill.
No, I'm scared of height too.
Okay, well then we'll figure out something. Last question would really be around like your forward-looking thoughts, because you know you are a mom. So Daihan is Singaporean, you know, you're Chinese, and you know you guys are in this melting pot in Singapore where there's so many expats and people all over the world. What do you envision for the future for both of you and your kid?
We seldom have the time to really sit down and talk about like some like serious topics and deep thoughts, and we sort of know that we wanted to try a different place. We want to experience more different culture as well, and that we see friends and co-workers around us doing the same thing, and they seem to enjoy themselves. And it's also for Daryl, our son, and we try not to deliberately nudge him to any predetermined path that we or the society envision for him, that we want to like just to give him all this kind of experience so that he can explore the world, like have this freedom to like develop his own path, like chart his own path. To be honest, Singapore is small, and it is honest, very comfortable, very easy, very safe, and it's great for kids. Still, we think if we can bring him more experience by moving to another place, by like exposing him to a different culture and making different friends from different backgrounds. I think that's like something we wanted.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think wherever you guys go, I think you guys will live very like good, fulfilling lives, and he's very lucky to have parents like you guys.
I don't know. It is a lifelong study and learning to be parents as well. I feel like I know there for sure gonna be influences for him from us, like how we do things, how we interact with people. It's just not like when we say we don't want to influence them, we don't want to give any predetermined anything, but it's there, it's in daily life, that it's try be there for him and try to bring a better self for him.
No, it's interesting because I think, like yourself and Daihan too, the upbringing that you guys have and like the values that you hold close to your heart are also going to trickle down to him, and then he'll have external factors like his teachers or like friends, and he has to develop his own conscience. So it's great that you guys give him that space, and you're not like, you must be a doctor, you know, like typical Asian parents. No, I think that's great. Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you for watching.
Don't forget to click like and subscribe.
Bye.
Okay, let's go eat egg tarts now.
Okay.